Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Today's video is going to be my December reading wrap-up video. I've been trying to get the right setup filming this because it is so dark. It's currently 4 o'clock, which I mean is pretty dark in the UK anyway at 4, and in January it's so dark I've had to use my light. Like, I was trying to use the natural light, but let's be honest, the natural light is gone. First of all, I hope you all had a great new year. I hope you had a happy new year as well to all of you. I had a bit of a spontaneous new year actually. I've kind of gone past the point where, I don't know, none of my friends really do anything anymore. Yeah, I feel like that I don't really celebrate New Year's anymore. I wasn't feeling great on New Year's Eve, but I just mustered up some energy. Some energy came from somewhere, and me and my husband had some, like, just a little twosome dance party, little party in here where we've just stuck on a load of old YouTube music videos from like the noughties and the 90s. We just had loads of stuff on. It was really cool, like a bit of Gorillaz, Jamiroquai, Stardust, Sophie Ellis-Bextor, Backstreet Boys, Britney, Sugar Babes, all that old cheesy stuff. So yeah, and then we watched Jules Holland, and then we went on our balcony and we saw all the fireworks displays, which was really nice. But yeah, it was a late one for me. I think I didn't go to bed at like 2 o'clock, so pretty late. But anyways, yeah, I hope you all had a good New Year's anyway. So yes, today we are going to talk about all the books that I read in December. So December was a bit of a weird month for me. As I said in my previous video, I had a bit of a crash mid-December. I just think all the anticipation of Christmas and work was busy, and just, yeah, I just think everything just got a bit on top of me, and yeah, I had a bit of a crash, which then I think coincided with my reading slump. I had my first reading slump since I've come back into reading again, and yeah, I just was not really enjoying any books. I did read a total of 6 books. 4 of them are physical and 2 audiobooks. It's not terrible. That's you know what, I need to stop being harsh on myself. That's pretty good, to be honest. That is actually really good. So yeah, here are the books. Here's the physical books that I'm going to be speaking about today. Yeah, I'm just going to dive in. So the first book I read in December was Assembly by Natasha Brown. This was muchly anticipated. You guys were saying how much you really loved this book, and I couldn't wait to read it. After my November haul, I just yeah, I knew this was going to be one of the first books I read in December. So yeah, so I gave this a 4 stars. I actually really liked it. It was a little bit different for me. I feel like this book isn't for everybody. I'll just quickly give a bit of a backstory on what it's about. So Assembly is about our protagonist. She doesn't have a name, but it's about a woman who has risen. She's risen to a high position in the financial sector. She is a banker, I think, and she shares her perspective, and her streams of consciousness are just pretty much the whole book. Yeah, so her streams of consciousness, she kind of tells us about how she feels you know, alienated by her own country that she's born into, and essentially she's just trying to fit into a country that is constantly telling her that she doesn't belong. And I really resonated with that. I think growing up, I grew up in a predominantly white town, and I felt very different, obviously, you know, due to the colour of my skin and everything. So I really felt that, and I think my parents were born here, and I think they've just tried so hard to just really integrate into British culture, and I think it must have been even worse for them when they were my age growing up, because they probably would have been like one of how many black kids in the UK. So yeah, I really resonate with this because I think, like, growing up, my parents constantly just told me, like, you know, just keep your head down, do well in school, don't bring any attention to yourself, be quiet. And I was always so angry when they would say that, because I never knew what they meant. And then slowly, as I've gotten older and obviously, you know, really come to understand what it's like being a black woman in the UK, I definitely understand what they mean now. This book will make you understand that. I thought the writing was really beautiful. I think this is a great debut for Natasha Brown. I didn't think the author, is actually kind of in the financial sector, so I'm guessing it's briefly off her own experience. I thought this was very thought-provoking, very punchy, very impactful, but quite glum and like the weather. Very glum, quite bleak as well, in some aspects. I won't obviously say too much, but yeah, like I said before, I said it's definitely not for everyone. Some of the political and like social injustice talk, it did throw me a little bit. I found some parts were kind of hard to follow because, like I said, this is a stream of her consciousness, so some bits didn't kind of add up, but I guess that's the whole point. All in all, I did really enjoy it. Nice short punchy read, and yeah, I gave it 4 stars, so I would definitely recommend. The next book I read or listened to was How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie, and I gave this one a 3 stars. So my best friend actually recommended this to me. I had seen it on Goodreads, but yeah, she like messaged me, she's like, oh, I've just finished this book, you have to read it. I didn't really know too much about the premise, but usually what she sent me loads of books over the years, so, and always recommended books to me, so I always just kind of give them a read. Yeah, so like I said, I listened to this on audiobook. I really liked the narration, which was good. Sometimes I don't enjoy audiobooks if I don't like the narration, so big thumbs up for the narration. I thought it was good. So the premise is that we follow Grace, who is 28, and she seeks revenge on her millionaire affluent family. She discovers that her rich father ignores like her mother's help and pleas for when she's her mum sadly diagnosed with cancer. She obviously reaches out to the father for help, and he just kind of bats her away and ignores her. So when Grace finds this out, she plans to like seek revenge and kill her family. It's very, very sinister. It's very witty, deadpan. It's very comedic, but it's quite dark and a little disturbing at times. The main character, Grace, is not nice at all. She's quite horrible. I did feel a little sorry for her in some aspects, but I felt that she was literally soulless, and yeah, she was just horrible. I did give this a 3 because I did enjoy the book, but I felt that it could have been a little bit shorter. I felt there was a lot of rambling and waffling in between things which didn't really need to be said. However, I still did enjoy the little details in there. You know, the scene was set. I thought the writing was good as well. I think the pacing was good as well. But yeah, I think overall I did actually really enjoy it. It's a good, I don't know, is it a thriller? Yeah, I thought it was a good book, so yeah, I gave it 3 stars. This is the book which sadly got me into my reading slump, which is so disappointing. I read Edge of Here by Kelechi Okafor, and I gave this 3 stars, so I did really enjoy it. I loved the cover art. I think it's so vibrant. You can see that. Love it. Love that. It really stands out. This is a collection of short stories. It's been referred to as if you love Black Mirror like me, big Black Mirror fan, you would like this. It's very, very Black Mirror. That's what sucked me in, because I was like, okay, brilliant. I'm looking for a dystopian read, and especially, you know, to do with race and things like that. So yeah, so this covers race, inequality, also refers back to the African diaspora as well, which I really enjoyed. I haven't really read books like that, so I thought that was good. Yeah, so like I was saying, this has been recommended for fans of Black Mirror, and I definitely agree. Some of the stories were absolutely top tier, 5-star, like the idea of the story. It was the execution for me, which is what brought the stars down to 3. I think if the execution was there, this could have been 4 to 5 stars. The detail, it was missing. I wrote so many notes about this, and I just think the detail was missing. I did go in with high expectations with this, and I just felt like it didn't deliver. There were some similarities to some Black Mirror episodes, which we do have. One of the stories reminded me of, is it 15 Million Merits? When they're in that kind of space where the girl goes onto the talent show and they're like riding their bikes, and every day to trying to get points and things like that. There's one story which did kind of similarly remind me of that. There was also another story which I wanted to kind of briefly touch on, but this isn't a spoiler. The one story I really enjoyed, which is Ally Chip, which is about when white people come forward to have a chip implanted in their brain, and they get to experience they need a host to do it, so they need another black person as their host, and they get to experience the emotional trauma and the responses of black people to racism. So I thought that one was really, really interesting because actually no, I won't go into it, but yeah, I thought that was quite a good story. And Uterus Star as well, that was one which I said which is similar to 15 Million Merits. I thought that one was probably the most Black Mirror-esque, very, very disturbing one, which could actually made me think it could actually happen in real life. I thought some of them were quite predictable, but again, I didn't think they were really groundbreaking and shocking. I don't really want to slate it too much because I do really like Kelechi, but I just think it was just missing a bit of detail. I think this should have been cooking for maybe about another 6 months to a year, and I think it could have been a really fantastic book. At the same time, I still would recommend it. If you are a fan of Black Mirror and you do like those type of dystopian reads, I would still recommend it. I think it is really good. So yeah, kind of went on a bit of a tangent on that, but I just wanted to kind of explain what my 3-star, because I was expecting that to be 5 stars, but unfortunately it wasn't, but never mind. The next book I read was Lioness by Emily Perkins, and I picked this up when I was in Waterstones a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember now, and I hadn't heard anything about it, which is quite nice to go into a store and just pick up a book which you've just seen. I was really intrigued by the cover and the back, and this is actually textured as well, so it's like you can kind of feel the burn hole in there. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was really intriguing. The blurbs kind of stood out to me because I think this is when I just finished Succession, so I was kind of looking for like a rich sort of dynasty kind of corruption sort of book to sink into. I did give this a 3-star, which is really annoying. I felt really mixed about this. This is a novel set in New Zealand, which was a new one for me. I've never read a book which is set in New Zealand before, so I really like that. So we follow a 50-something woman called Therese, I think you pronounce it, Therese Thorne, and she's the owner of a small chain of luxury homeware stores, and she's married to her husband, who's a property developer, and they're just kind of living the high life. She's sort of married into this life of luxury. He is, a bit more established than her. He's 20 years her senior, so there was a bit of an age gap there as well. As we get into the book, we discover that her husband might be corrupt when some ish goes down with one of his projects that he's invested in, and just all loads of chaos starts to unfold from there. This was, right, I'm just reading my notes here. I just put, this was a very odd book. I don't mind odd and weird, but this was just unexpected, but not in a good way. It was incredibly unexpected. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. First of all, I loved the writing. When I first started reading it, I was like, oh yes, this is going to be one of my favourite. This is going to be a good favourite author of mine. I really liked the writing, the flow. At first, I couldn't put it down. Like I just, I was quite enticed by it, but it kind of stopped in the middle, and then I think I had my crash, and I just wasn't really looking forward to picking it up and reading it. It just fell a bit, like it was all over the place, and it was just odd. It was just really, 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 really odd, and yeah, just not in a good way. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say besides that it was just incredibly odd. But if you want to give it a go, and if you want something a little bit unexpected, then I would suggest you have a read. That's all I can say. The next book is The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and I gave this a 4 stars. So I listened to this on audiobook, and I would highly recommend if you haven't listened to it on audio. The narrator really sounds like Britney, so that kind of helped with the experience there. Obviously, I won't delve too much into it because I think everyone kind of knows what it's about. It's a, you know, obviously a memoir about Britney and her life. I remember sitting watching the when she came out, the interview, or when she came out about the conservatorship back in 2021, and I just couldn't believe it, like the treatment that she had. And yeah, going into this book, I really was interested to hear her thoughts and what happened, and it must have been so traumatic for her to have to it must have been so traumatizing for her to have to replicate like everything what happened to her during that period. And I think, what was it, 13 years she was like stuck in this. Oh, I can't even begin to even imagine the hell that she went through with that. So yeah, so I kind of put here that, yeah, this made me incredibly sad for Britney, hearing how much of her life was stolen from her by her incredibly greedy family. And I said that I hope she finds peace. I don't mean to sound negative, but I thought the actual writing of this book wasn't the best. It kind of just felt like it was just like a retelling of I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. To be honest, I shouldn't really rate a memoir because it's that person's story, and I feel like it's kind of harsh to rate how entertaining I found their personal story and their battles. But so I was kind of debating whether to keep this in, but I thought I would just recommend it anyway. I gave it 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I really resonated with her, and at some points, you know, I was close to tears. It was so heartbreaking, you know, to hear everything that she went through, and just, oh, her family and JT. We're boycotting JT now. Just all the stuff with like her ex, and oh, it's just horrible. But yeah, I think I really did enjoy reading it. I think, you know, I'm not a huge Britney fan. Obviously, you know, I grew up listening to her, but I found it really interesting. So yeah, I would highly recommend listening or reading the book if you're kind of interested in her life story and kind of what happened. Yeah, so heartbreaking. And then the final book I'd like to show for my December reading wrap up is Snowed In by Catherine Welsh. I briefly touched on this in my previous video, and this got me out of my reading slump. This I happily gave this 5 stars. This was kindly gifted to me by a Bookature, but I just want to caveat, they did not ask me to review this at all. They just said, do you fancy reading this? Do you fancy reading this book? We'll get it sent out to you. And this is my honest opinion. I absolutely love this, and like I said, this got me out my reading slump because I just wasn't enjoying anything really, even though I gave, yeah, I think the Lioness book and Edge of Here kind of threw me a little bit. But yeah, oh, I loved this so much. Yeah, this was a classic fluffy romance, light, easy, fun read. I started this on Christmas Eve and I finished it 3 or 4 days later. Really enjoyed it, devoured it. We follow Megan and Christian. So Megan is a runaway bride. She leaves her fiance, and Christian is the sort of bad boy from their school, and they bump into each other in a pub in Dublin. It's around the Christmas time, and they're both moaning that they both don't want to go home single. They come together, make up a contract and say that they're going to be each other's partners. The typical fake dating trope, which I'm not too keen on, but I loved it. I just loved it. I loved it, okay? So I loved their relationship. I loved the development of both of them. I loved the characters. There wasn't a character which I didn't enjoy. I mean, her fiance was, couldn't stand him. But yeah, I just loved it all. It was just what I needed. Brilliant palette cleanser, highly recommend. Obviously I know Christmas is over, but you can still definitely read this if you want to. I said this is very similar to Emily Henry, so if you like that kind of writing style, banter, spice, I highly recommend. The spice was tastefully done. It wasn't too vulgar. It was like just it was just enough. Yeah, I really loved it. And yeah, I wasn't feeling that Christmassy now last year. I don't know, I kind of is it sad to sound kind of over Christmas? I don't know, but yeah, I just I loved it. I loved it so much, and I can't recommend it enough. So I really enjoyed it. Anyway, that is my reading wrap up for December. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all for your lovely comments on my last 2 videos, and thank you so much for submitting so many questions to the Q&A as well. I'll have a look through those, and I'll do my Q&A soon in the next coming weeks or whatever, or just whenever I get around to doing it. But yeah, I just want to say again a massive thank you for everyone who's said such lovely things and kind comments, and some of your comments on my thank you video. I honestly can't believe I've got such lovely people who part of this community, and just like, yeah, like I don't know if I came across, I really want to show how grateful I am and just how much this has impacted my life, but in a great way. I just never thought this would ever have been possible, and I'm just so grateful to have this community and to have you all here supporting me. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, on that note, I'm gonna head off now, get warm, and probably make myself a tea. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys in the next video.